Somebody say, Hog Rider!
Frank?
Hog Rider?
No, sweetie. He's not.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today we're going to talk about the Hog Rider. The Hog Rider is a very controversial card right now in the game. If you look all over Reddit, all over Twitter, all over Facebook, people are demanding, they're begging Supercell for a Hog Rider nerf. So today, at the risk of alienating 75% of my viewers, I'm going to make the case as to why the Hog Rider should not receive a nerf. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but hey, that's why I made this channel to begin with, to talk and open up a dialogue about these controversial hot button topics inside the games that I cover and see if we can't reach an understanding. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think of my argument as to why the Hog should not be nerfed. And then I'm happy to hear if you guys still disagree with me or if you think I did a pretty crappy job of explaining and making my case. So before we get into why I don't think, or why people do think he should be nerfed and why I don't think so, I actually recently did an AMA on Plex Chat, and one person asked me how I think that Supercell should go about, or if I was on the Supercell team, how I would go about deciding whether it's right to buff or nerf a given card in the game. And I think it depends on three things. It depends on use rates, win rates, and intuition. And I think that all three have to align in order for me to be comfortable buffing or nerfing a card. So the use rates, obviously how often this card is used in different game modes. So you have to look at the entire ecosystem of Clash Royale, not just one thing, not just Arena 7, not just Arena 11, not just tournament level standard, not just 2v2. You kind of have to look at the broad landscape of the game. So win rates, what percentage of matches do the decks using that card win when using that card? So kind of a little bit of an arbitrary number to a certain extent, but you should have to have a high win rate and a usage rate, in my opinion, to justify a nerf, or a low use rate and a low win rate to justify a buff. An example of the opposite side of the equation as a Hog Rider is an Expo. Expo has a high win rate, but a very low use rate, meaning that the people who do use Expo are generally really skilled at it and they're really good players. So it's a viable and strong card. It's just not a very popular card because of the skill cap. I think Hog Rider is opposite in a lot of ways. The skill cap is much lower. It's much easier to play the Hog Rider, understand how you're using it. The Hog Rider is the quintessential bridge spam. You know, I mean, you're playing the Hog Rider, the bridge 99% of the time, right? So it is a very basic card, and it's fundamental to Clash Royale as a rare win condition, which is we'll get to in a moment. So I think it's kind of like the flip-flop version. It's a high use rate, and the win rate is decent, but it's in line with the other win conditions in the game. It's not any higher than other cards like Giant or other win conditions, Minor, for example. So intuition, I'm going to actually link a video, a YouTube video for you guys to watch after this one if you're curious, where Stefu, the head designer from the Clash Royale team, he's like the balancing guru. He gave like a 45-minute speech all about intuition and the role that it plays in card balancing. So I'll let him do the talking there. But basically, it just has to feel right and kind of align where you want the game to go in terms of the meta and diversity in the meta. So let's talk about the Hog Rider again. Those are the factors that we're going to be looking at today. So by the way, guys, I am going to end today's video with an interview of the creator of StatsRoyale.com, because I am going to be citing some data from Stats Royale, which I tend to do a lot. It's my go-to website for card data, usage rates, deck win rates, etc. So I wanted to bring him on the channel for a quick 3-minute or so interview just to talk about how he aggregates those stats on a daily basis and what type of sample size we're looking at. That way we can kind of give some texture to the sites that I'm or the sources that I'm citing here. So people say that the use rate of Hog Rider is annoying. He's everywhere, and it's annoying to go against. And the other argument I hear is he's very difficult to counter, and he's too strong right now. So that's the crux of why people hate the Hog Rider. I don't think I'm missing anything. It's just the nature of the card and the fact that he's being played at a high use rate. So there's 4 reasons why I don't think that we should be nerfing the Hog Rider. Reason number 1 goes back to what we just talked about, the kind of the pillars of what it takes to buff or nerf a card, right? So I think that the use rate is high, but the win rate isn't high. So that just means that a lot of people use him because, again, he's a rare win condition, which really helps and benefits free-to-play players or players who aren't huge spenders. Even me, like, for a while, I only played Hog on ladder because I didn't have any max epics or certainly legendary cards. I still don't. So, well, legendaries, not epics. But the thing is you kind of have to take that into the equation here and make sure that you don't react just because of the use rate. So the fact that the Goblin Barrel, the Giant, the Elite Barbarians even have the same win rate, albeit not the same usage rate as the Hog Rider, gives me pause talking about a nerf. Number 2 is, and this is a big one, is the Hog Rider is a rare win condition. I wonder if people know what they're asking for when they ask for the Hog Rider to be nerfed. It's just going to give more usage to the other free-to-play friendly, or I hate saying free-to-play. Basically, it's people who aren't dropping thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So everywhere in between the highest end, the 1%ers of Clash Royale. It's hurting you because eventually it's just going to lead, if there's a Hog nerf, in my opinion, it's just going to lead to more Royal Giant, more Elite Barbarian, more Mortar, cards like those, which are also free-to-play friendly win conditions, and people are just going to start complaining even more about those cards. I'd rather go against a Hog every time than a Royal Giant every single match like it used to be. And when I say every time, it's a big exaggeration. Hog Rider, even with its use rates, believe it or not, even in Arena 11, is still not in a quarter of the decks. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, hey, let me show you my battle log. But the fact of the matter is, his use rates are his use rates. They hover from like 20 to 25%, which is definitely high, 1 out of every 4 or 5 decks. But at the same time, there's still diversity there. So number 3, so we talked about rare win condition. Why would you want to punish yourselves as free-to-play players? I just don't understand it. A Hog is a great card for a free-to-play player to build a deck around and to have a lot of fun with it. You can have a Hog cycle deck. You can have kind of a beefier Hog expensive deck. There's a lot of different variations that you can use. Furthermore, he's not great in tournament play right now. He's good in tournament play, but he's not as annoying and prevalent as he is on ladder to many people, because in tournament standards, you take away the fact that he's a rare, the fact that he's easy to level up, and everything's a little bit more even playing field. So if you nerf him all across the board, which you have to, then it's going to hurt him even more in tournament level standard. I hate to see that. Number 3 is, well, we talked about number 3, is giving rise to the Elite Barbarians, the Royal Giants, etc. And number 4 is the hard to counter argument, right? I disagree with this fundamentally as well. I don't think that the Hog Rider is hard to counter. I think that he can be annoying maybe at times, but think about it. The Hog Rider has been here since day 1. He's an OG rare win condition in the game, and the developers have released all these different viable counters to the Hog Rider. Most recently, the Mega Knight. Before that, the Tornado. Before that, the E-Wiz. Before that, the Goblin Gang. Before that, the Bowler. I mean, there's been a lot of cards added to the game that do hard counter the Hog Rider. So I don't think that and then you have the classic cards too. You have the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and you have defenses such as Tombstone and Cannon. So there's a lot of options there when you want to counter a Hog Rider, right? So I don't think that, at least in my opinion, the argument that he's just too difficult to counter really carries much weight, because any deck should be able to find room for 1, if not 2 of the cards that I mentioned there. Some good Hog counters, because those cards are also very versatile. It's more than just a Hog counter. They can actually, have to be answered on defense with most of those troop cards like Mega Knight, E-Wiz, etc. A bowler, and the Tornado is just an incredible counter to the Hog Rider. Activates your King Tower. It's a great card defensively. So I think that all of these factors combined is why I personally do not think that the Hog Rider needs a nerf. All right, guys, do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Ruiner again, guys. This guy is brilliant. He's the mastermind behind statsroyale.com, which gets millions and millions and millions of hits every single day. So, wow, I think it's a top 2,500 or top 2,000 website in the entire world. Not gaming, not Clash Royale, just worldwide. That's incredible. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. Enjoy the little chat. Hey, Ruiner, first off, thanks so much for coming on. Secondly, I wanted to ask you about statsroyale.com. Now, I know that you guys are my go-to site when it comes to use rates and win percentages. Just wanted to bring you on quickly and ask you, from the guy who's basically the creator of the site, where do you aggregate that information? How do you get that stats, and how reliable are they?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we look at the card win rates and use rates, I mean, we could probably do a better job and show like how many matches are used to populate those numbers. But to give you an idea, like if I look right now, the most popular cards in all arenas, you see Skeleton Army with 60% win rate, 45% usage. So that's all arenas combined, and in the database we actually have about 4 million matches that are
Good
used to
God.
compile that.
All right.
And that's for one single day.
One day?
Right.
Oh
so
my God. So 4 million matches in one day.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's a lot of matches. So the numbers are pretty accurate then.
It's pretty accurate, but like at the same time, I mean, there are a lot more matches than this. Like if we look at just Arena 11 and above, we only have 75,000 matches. Now I'm saying only, it's still a lot. It gives a good average. It's definitely not 100% accurate, but it is definitely accurate.
Yeah, so 75,000 matches in a day for Arena 11 specifically. That's definitely a good sample size. It's probably like way better than you get on like poll numbers, on like, you know, elections and stuff like that. So what about the challenges and tournament level standard? Is that a little bit less accurate?
So it would be, I mean, let's say we look at a card that's less used, for example, Sparky. If we look at tournaments, we still have maybe 10,000 matches.
Wow.
So that's because tournament is combining all arenas anyway, so we don't separate between arenas. So that it's based on 10,000, like all arenas combined. So there are definitely less matches in tournament and challenges.
And when you, if you can share this, what is the difficulty? Why can't you just pull every match for a day? Why can you only pull whatever 4 million or whatever the insane number already is? Like what prevents you from just taking all the matches?
So right now the way it works is we don't automatically pull data. So the numbers that we use is people that actually refresh their profile on the site. At some point there is a limitation in how much data you can consume in the database. We had to make some changes. I mean, a lot of changes recently. There was just so much stuff coming in the database that it was becoming very slow, and we had a lot of like downtime. But now with the new system we put in place, like everything is super snappy, but we still don't want to push too hard and request so much from the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I just wanted to thank you again for coming on and kind of clearing that up, how accurate your numbers are and where you're getting the information from. Any new features that we should be on the lookout for in Stats Royale?
We're working on a lot of stuff, but it's
top secret.
Yeah, right. Well, you will see next weekend we're actually going to do the stats for King's Cup. So we're working with them now. That will be really cool. similar to Crown Championship, but maybe a bit more live stuff during the first part of the tournament. It's gonna be really cool.
Fantastic. Well, looking forward to that. Hopefully, you'll share my winning decks. Knock on wood, but we'll see. So definitely, guys, go check out www.statsroyale.com. And Ruiner, thanks again for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that little chat with Ruiner there. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Really appreciate it, guys. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below, along with the Stats Royale website link in the description. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.